What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Straight Facts, a sports show that educates and entertains. I'm your boy, James Jackson, Jimmy J. Those are my two guys, Kyle Sirik and Stat Matt Robinson. Jake Alley actually is not with us today, sadly, because the young Gotti, for reference and prayers up to my brother Jake, he came out to his car, his front bumper just hanging on the ground and no culprit in sight. So someone backed up, got his car, and did a little hit and run on him. Wasn't good, wasn't repairable enough for him to make it down to the studio. So
yeah,
he's
he
down
lives,
there right now.
He lives the furthest away, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, he does.
Than any of us.
Yeah, he got a battle.
He wasn't making it up,
and 422.
He wasn't making it up.
Yeah, it's an excused absence, 100%, an excused absence. But the show must go on, and we got to break down week 1 of the NFL season because football was back and it didn't disappoint.
No, it
didn't. All the games that were supposed to hit and be very good and entertaining games were, and that gives us just a lot to talk about.
All but one. The Green Bay New Orleans game.
But even that had some entertainment value to it just because the drama of it.
Any game Jameis Winston throws 5 touchdowns, I'm going to say is an entertaining football game to watch.
We'll get to that because we got to give famous Jameis his props. We will absolutely get to that. And there are a lot of people talking crazy about like that game and putting all sorts of accolades and hype around Jameis Winston. Overreactions, we do say. So we're going to get into some overreactions on our own or our facts. So this is our first segment. We're going to call fact or overreact. Give you guys some things that happened or some things that have been said about week 1. We got to figure out if they're a fact or an overreaction. First one, and I like this. We're starting this one off hot. I like this one. Aaron Rodgers, after that week 1 performance, is no longer a top 5 quarterback. Let's just run down just the game that Sir A.A. Ron had. 133 yards, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions, a 36.8 quarterback rating. That's next worst to Trevor Lawrence with a 70.1. And Rodgers would have had a better quarterback rating if he spiked the ball on every single play. So if he actually came out, threw the ball in the on every single play, he would have had a better quarterback rating. So after all those things being considered, and the eye test of just how bad it looked, is that a fact or overreact, Kyle? What's going on?
It's an overreaction. I mean, he's still the MVP of the league. Say what you want about what happened in the offseason. I think, people are going to have trouble with that. But he played one game, right? He played one game. This is his revenge tour. He played a lot of golf, I'm sure, in the offseason. All that. Let him get back in football shape.
A lot of Jeopardy hosting.
Yeah, a lot of Jeopardy. Well, couple Jeopardy hosting. But I let him get back on his feet. He's clearly still a top 5 quarterback in the league. I don't think you can take a one-game sample size of anything in any sport and say that is who this guy is, especially after what we've seen of Aaron Rodgers even just last year.
Right. I mean, and you can't let one game define like Aaron Rodgers, his talent or his career, and it does not undo the MVP season that he just had. But here's what's interesting about, the performance Aaron Rodgers put in. Say that Pat Mahomes was having a contract dispute with the Chiefs, and it was holding out all offseason into training camp. And not that he wouldn't work out at all. And I'm sure Aaron Rodgers didn't not work out at all.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think Patrick Mahomes could have come back with a little bit of a training camp and put on a better week 1 performance and put on still a Patrick Mahomes-like performance? Would he have been that bad?
I mean, we saw every quarterback in the league have a better game than Aaron Rodgers did.
Okay, right.
No, Mahomes wouldn't have been that bad. It is concerning.
Well, okay.
I'll say that, but I'm not going to put the label on him that he's no longer a top 5 quarterback after one.
But if that logic is for Mahomes, could Josh Allen have done that? I believe Josh Allen could have come back and had a good. Could Lamar Jackson? I believe Lamar Jackson could have come back and had a better game.
Yeah,
could Russell Wilson? But now you're getting 4 or 5 QBs deep. Who could have done what Aaron Rodgers did? Hold out this offseason, not go to training camp, and come back and have a better week 1 game. Which, if we're going to use that logic, may put him out the top 5 quarterbacks right now. Just in terms of pure talent and able to play the quarterback.
But when I look at top 5 quarterbacks, I view it as...
That's not the basis.
Yeah, the top 5 quarterbacks is...
I'm changing the basis.
For the rest of the season, you can pick a quarterback, rank them. That's what our top 5 quarterback is. If he's not in your top 5, you either have like psychic vision of the future or you're delusional.
No, 100%. I'm trying to make a case for it to be true.
He's the MVP.
Mm-hmm.
He played against a really good team from last year. They were in 12-4. They were the 2 seed last year, and people forget, have short memories. Last year in November, Tom Brady had a very similar horrible stat line in a 38-3 loss
God, bro,
to
you
the
are
Saints.
exact
relentless with this
score.
shit. You
Where,
are
where,
relentless.
Same exact
where he
score.
threw 3 picks,
Yeah.
209 yards at a 40.4 passer rating.
Mhm.
Yep.
Great quarterbacks have shit games against good teams. It doesn't mean anything unless it becomes a long-term trend, and nothing I've seen, unless Rodgers has really just completely quit because he's done with the
Yeah,
Packers.
that's
the only scenario where I think that this could be long-term.
yeah, and that's the warning flag.
It's-
I think
3 out of 10 panics go.
I
if I'm
think
a Packers
It's
fan.
it's,
This-
it's the shock factor
yeah,
of it. You know
this
what I mean?
statement's an overreaction, but there's warning flags now. I mean,
my point.
After everything
point.
that happened in the offseason, you think a guy comes back from that, but who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe he retired, but he's still going to play. Maybe in 3 weeks, he's going to be like, oh, this is actually my retirement year. He's going to have the first ever retirement year, and he's just not going to play.
He looked superhuman last year in his MVP year.
Yeah.
And the very first game, he looked very much mortal. He looked very human. He looked very any quarterback. And Aaron Rodgers, there's been 1 or 2 times ever he's looked like any quarterback.
Yeah.
And with everything going on, it's for some people, it's too much of a coincidence. For some people, it's like you can't hold out the entire offseason, not work out, and then just come back and be the best quarterback in the league again.
This is one we're going to learn. We're going to learn very quickly if this is an overreaction or fact. And I think currently it's definitely an overreaction.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to use that very last sentence that you said to move into the next one. We're going to learn very quickly if this next statement is a fact or an overreaction. Y'all man Jalen Hurts. Y'all played the Falcons, by the way. But y'all man Jalen Hurts went up and impressed a lot of people in week 1, including myself.
Yes, sir.
A very, very good week 1 performance. 264 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, a 77 completion percentage, 126.4 quarterback rating. He looked like an upper echelon quarterback. And it's always fun to play this game of Jalen Hurts versus Carson Wentz because making a reality show out of Philadelphia sports is just way too much fun. So how about this one for y'all? Jalen Hurts will have a better season than the former Eagles quarterback Carson Wentz will have this year in Indianapolis. Matt, I'm throwing that to you first.
That's not an overreaction because Carson Wentz was the 31st best quarterback in the league last year. so to say that Jalen Hurts, who I'm not honest, I'm really for game 1 he proved me wrong so far. I keep hoping.
You're not a big.
I'm not a big Hurts
guy.
fan.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
I think Carson Wentz will be mediocre this year. I don't think he'll be horrible like he was last year, and I think Jalen Hurts will be mediocre. So it's up in the air. So it's completely not an overreaction to say that.
Oh, okay. The statement's up in the air.
Yeah, the one it's not. I don't know for sure if that's true. I think they'll both be kind of middle of the pack quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I didn't see from Hurts is we didn't push the ball down the field on throws, and the one time he did throw a deep ball, he underthrew it to Hurts.
Mm-hmm.
So I do want to see more of that, but I was obviously 9 out of 10 performance from Hurts. Was very happy.
Right.
But it's definitely not an overreaction to say that Hurts will have a better season than Wentz.
There was context around both their performances. One, Carson Wentz didn't have an abysmal game. He didn't have a great game. He had a good game. He was fine. I saw one offense, kind of let their quarterback go a little bit, but not, like you said, didn't push the ball down the field. Hey, we're gonna get you out there. We're gonna get you moving, but we're not gonna pull the reins off this thing. And then I saw one offense trust their quarterback far too much, and that was the Colts. So I think that resulted in the 2 games. If the Colts rein it back, and if the Eagles let it all go, I think the tails flip a little bit. But Kyle, factor overreaction, Jalen Hurts, we know what your answer is.
Oh, this is a fact. This is a fact. Jalen Hurts is going to have a better season than Carson Wentz. And what you just said about how, maybe he would have maybe more opportunities to let the reins loose on Jalen Hurts. They won that game big. I mean, there's a lot of opportunities to run.
Falcons.
They did play the Falcons, but you will let the reins go. I mean, he threw 264 yards with 77% completion percentage, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. He's going to get even more opportunities in close games. I mean, they're running the ball at the end of that game. But the one thing for me is that in one game, Jalen Hurts had a better game by far than any game Carson Wentz put out in 12 games last season.
Context is a lot to
Carson
that,
Wentz,
context means a lot.
But Carson Wentz didn't throw, and this surprised me, didn't throw 3 touchdowns in a single game last season.
He was horrible last year.
But not even once. And the highest passer rating he had was a 91.1 last season. Jalen Hurts put up a 126.4. Now, the context is Carson Wentz also played a better week 1 than any game he played last season. Still took an L, though. I think when you look at this, I'm going to say it's a fact. I think Jalen Hurts by far puts up the better stats. When you're looking at quarterbacks, it's not just the stat position, though, like maybe wide receiver is oftentimes. But if the Eagles continue to play this way and they're fighting for a playoff spot, maybe win the NFC East, I think by far that is better than any season Carson Wentz is going to have, unless somehow he goes like 13-4 and wins the division, which I don't see happening at all with the Colts.
It's an overreaction.
It's not.
Or it's an overreaction. And here's what I'm going to tell you why.
He took his job last year. He's going to play a better season this year.
I want to tell you why. Y'all just aren't rational sometimes. Here's why it's an overreaction. Carson had a below average game. For quarterback standards, for Carson Wentz standards, for the hype and debut, he had a below average game.
I thought he looked good.
And 251 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, a 102 quarterback rating. The fumbles are always going to be there. He's Carson Wentz. Jalen Hurts has to have a better game than that every single week for him to have a better season than Carson Wentz. It's an average Carson Wentz game.
Compared to last year, that's the best Carson Wentz game we've seen in the last 13 games.
In terms of the quarterback that we all think and know Carson Wentz can be, that's an average Carson Wentz game.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts has to be better than that on a week-to-week basis to be better than Carson Hurts. I'm not saying – or Carson Wentz, I'm sorry.
You can't just erase what Wentz was last year like it didn't matter.
I'm not erasing it. Yeah. Because
that's part of the average.
I see what you're saying.
That is part of the average.
Yeah.
MVP Carson Wentz's average game was way better than that. So the bad Carson Wentz drags that down. That is an average Carson Wentz game. I don't think Jalen Hurts has a better game than that every single week. And that's not to say he's any bad.
But I don't think Carson Wentz holds up to that standard every single week. I thought personally Carson Wentz looked good.
With that
I
team,
think it's his first week on a new team. Maybe there are those arguments he will get better.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this is what you can expect from Wentz every week. Maybe more passing yards, maybe another interception here or there.
Exactly.
It'll vary a little bit. But I'm not so sure that Carson Wentz can do this every single week. And I think
the biggest thing I saw Hurts over Wentz is his pocket presence. Like, he knew exactly where all the defenders were coming from. Brady Jarrett got a lot of pressure on him early on, and he knew exactly. Wentz, ever since his injuries, he panics because he doesn't have the mobility, and he doesn't know what to do.
Right,
yeah.
Ends up
I saw a level of confidence in an Eagles quarterback I have not seen in a long time, and that was very promising.
But remember, and here's what Eagles fans fail to remember, is we're no longer, if we're going to have this Carson Wentz versus Jalen Hurts debate, we're no longer having it against
last year's
QB Jalen Hurts or Eagles Jalen Hurts and Eagles Carson Wentz. We're now having the debate Colts Carson Wentz. So if Carson has this game every week, I don't want to hear about what he did last year.
Yeah,
I don't, because we're judging him off this year, and that is an average Carson Wentz game. I just don't think Jalen Hurts does that on a week-to-week basis. I don't.
We'll disagree.
You played the Falcons.
Yeah.
But, hey, have that stat line against the Niners, 264, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions on 77. Do that next week against the Niners, and next Wednesday we might have a different conversation.
Fair.
That's what you
I don't think me and Matt believe in Carson Wentz as much as you do, though. I think
I'm not saying I believe in him, but
I just don't think that's an average Wentz game. I do think he looked good.
I think Wentz is a victim of circumstance. When he's in a good circumstance, I think he plays well.
Yeah.
I think when he's in a bad one, he will crumble. And he's in a good circumstance.
Let's be honest. In what way has Wentz proven that he's better than Jared Goff?
He almost won an MVP. Or he should have won an MVP.
That's 4 years ago.
Yeah, but Jared Goff never, once ever in my mind, should have won an MVP.
Jared Goff was a much better quarterback last year. Jared Goff played.
Your question to me was, whenever has Carson Wentz proven better than Jared Goff?
Right now, what's the argument that is there there's no strong argument that he's better than Jared Goff. It's like, you can make an argument either way.
Yeah, there is. Come on, man. There is. There is. If you're telling me you're like life depended on it. Martian's got the death beam pointed at you, and I said Carson Wentz or Jared Goff, there'd be a question in your mind.
In one game?
I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear you say.
I want to hear this.
In one game, I'll flip a coin.
No, you won't.
Doesn't make
no, you won't.
Okay.
Kyle Martian's got the death beam pointed at you.
Oh, I'm taking Carson Wentz.
Thank you. Come on, man.
I just want to remind people that Jared Goff had a comeback win on the road in the Superdome to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, great for him.
That happened.
He had a good game.
Sean McVay coached a great game.
He had a good game. That's awesome. He was on one of the best teams in the league. Anyway,
we got to move on.
We got to move on after that. The Bears might have to move on after from Andy Dalton. Red Rocket didn't look so hot in week 1. 206 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception, 4th worst quarterback rating among week 1 starters, and Justin Fields comes in, albeit not a touchdown pass, but gets his first touchdown of the season. Has more touchdowns than Andy Dalton does on the season. Right. So Andy Dalton should not play another game, or should not start another game, for the Chicago Bears. Kyle, fact or overreaction?
That's a fact.
It's time.
I think the decision to play Andy Dalton was either one of two things. One, you want to let the rookie sit for a little bit. This is your franchise quarterback. We don't care about him first game ever. And two, it could have been he gave yourself, and if the locker room believed it, which I don't think they do, is that that Andy Dalton put the Bears in the best position to win a game. That's what I think Matt Nagy was thinking.
Who the hell knows what Matt Nagy was thinking?
Before everything. And I just hit my mic. Sorry if that came through.
Yeah.
But that was before we saw what happened. I mean, Andy Dalton played 93% of snaps, did not score once. The other 7% went to Justin Fields. He went 2 for 2 passing and rushed in the touchdown. I mean, he's clearly the better quarterback. I kind of agreed maybe start Andy Dalton. I saw the reasons why until he took that football field on Sunday night. I mean, after he goes down, David Montgomery rushes for 50 yards. They got a shot to score on the opening possession. Very next play, Andy Dalton throws a pick. Matthew Stafford throws a 70-yard bomb to Van Jefferson. Game was over there. That game was over in the first quarter. I think if Matt Nagy wants his jobs and Bears fans want to win, I think Justin Fields has to take the reins from week 2 on.
Yeah, you're trying to make the playoffs. You were a playoff team last year. It's the only explanation I can make of this is that, like, if you're afraid Fields will struggle, you should have Dalton to see how bad it could be. It's like, well, at least he's not Dalton. He got that done. He didn't throw. Bears were one team didn't attempt a single pass that was 15-plus yards downfield. That's unbelievable. That's like playing with like 2015 Peyton Manning when he physically couldn't throw a ball 15 yards
chucked a couple ducks down there. They might not get there, but he tried.
Like, he didn't even try to throw. And, like, you can't win a football game, especially against a team like the Rams, without doing that. And you got to get rid of. I hope he should not start. That's not a close to an overreaction.
No.
I hope Matt Nagy thinks the same because it'd be much more fun watching just like I told my dad. It's like, what's the Sunday night game? It's like a Bears Rams. Ooh, Justin Fields like no, Dalton's starting. He's like and he wasn't just.
My neighbor said the same thing.
And you know why this is a fact? Because the players are saying that too.
Yeah, that's
they're coming in that night and say, "Who's starting? Andy?" Like. Justin Fields is one of those battery-packed players. Like, Justin Fields comes on the field, excites the teammates, excites the fans. And when you have a good team, that makes everyone play better. This isn't the Jaguars where they just need asses in the seats and, they're trying to boost team morale. If Justin Fields excites the rest of this team, imagine if Justin Fields excites Khalil Mack by what he does. Yeah. It's a problem for everybody else. Imagine if he excites Tariq Cohen. It's a problem for everybody else. So that's why it's a fact, because Justin Fields comes in and brings life back to the Bears. There was a clear time in that game where you could see on the sideline, most players are looking around like, man, I'm tired of this.
Yeah.
Because, this game seemed in grabs. I mean, the Rams defense had pretty much a chokehold in that game, but who knows?
The Rams are the better team.
100%.
The Rams are the better team. But
Justin Fields might give them a better shot to win that. And isn't that the point? Which quarterback gives you a better chance to win the football game?
That's exactly right. And I think Matt Nagy, if he continues with Andy Dalton, has 2 games left in him. If he's 0-3 and he hasn't made a decision to move to Justin Fields, they're going to bring in a coach that well, and he's off the hook.
The tape doesn't lie. Andy Dalton played 93% of snaps and didn't score once. Justin Fields played only 7% of snaps, went 2 for 2 passing and a rushing TD. Sample size means a lot.
Yeah.
Context means a lot. If that's flipped, who the hell knows what the numbers look like?
Mm-hmm.
But the tape doesn't lie. And I don't like when people try to overcomplicate football or sports in general. And we are a fact-based podcast, a fact-based show. But all our facts lead to the tape. All our facts support what you see on the tape. The tape does not lie.
Yep.
If Justin Fields comes in and he's a better quarterback and you have a team who's playoff ready, you best not play around with that. Or Matt Nagy, like you're playing with, you're just playing with your job.
Facts.
Absolutely playing with your job. The next one's going to be fun.
Oh, here we go.
The next one is going to be fun because it's a friend of the show. Matt Valdivinos. We got to talk to you, man. Because he let out on Twitter, the only QB definitely better than Dak Prescott is Patrick Mahomes. I'm going to say it one more time. The only QB that's definitely better than Dak Prescott is the best quarterback on the planet, and Patrick Mahomes. Kyle, because it's your boy too, man.
Yeah.
You co-sign this man.
Yeah, I brought him on the show,
Yeah,
and he's been great on the show.
Hey, he's my dog now too.
Yeah.
He's my dog now too. Factor overreaction.
So, Matt, I do want to say we get your argument, what you're saying. You're saying there's only one that's
Kyle,
definitely
that's where you're coming from.
No,
Kyle,
but what he's saying
argument.
is there's only one that's definitely better, Patrick Mahomes. He's saying everyone else is up for debate. That's what he's trying to say here. But Matt, this is a huge overreaction.
Thank you.
huge overreaction. We've seemingly forgot about Russell Wilson. We've seemingly, and you tweeted this on Thursday, so I'm not going to let you off the hook for this one. We seemingly forgot about Aaron Rodgers, and I know what he just did. We'll see what happens there. But I don't think there is much of a debate with Dak Prescott and the two guys I just named. I would throw Dak Prescott probably undoubtedly a top 10 quarterback in this league. But you tweeted this at halftime of a Thursday night game, and your argument was that the Bucs defense is pretty good. So, if he's number 2 quarterback in the league, I don't care what defense you're going against. He should look good.
Mm-hmm.
All right? That's not a way to say it. I'm going to say it's huge overreaction, and I think, Matt, you got some stuff to say.
Wild overreaction. Dak Prescott's a quarterback. Good for him that he's
Don't
healthy.
disrespect him now. You can be an overreaction, but don't disrespect Dak now.
It's impossible to say that Russell Wilson is not definitely better than Dak Prescott. There's no statistical argument that you can make that's close. There's no eye test argument that you can make. There's no team success argument that you can make.
What about Tom Brady?
You can make a wrong argument that he's better than Tom Brady.
Okay, so you can't make an argument.
But you can't make an argument about Russell Wilson because if you just look at the Dak Prescott hasn't thrown 100 passer rating season since his rookie year. I'm just going to read through Russell Wilson's last 4 years.
Go ahead.
Passer ratings of 105, 106, 110. And so
there it is right there.
There are 17 quarterbacks since that have thrown 100 that have had 100 passer rating seasons since Dak Prescott. I'm going to just name some of them that'll surprise you. Alex Smith, Jared Goff, Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins.
That one very much surprises me.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
That one surprises me.
like Ryan Tannehill.
That one surprised me a little bit.
Tannehill's good. No, Tannehill's good.
That surprised me a little bit. For a full season, that surprised me a little bit.
Tannehill's good.
Yeah,
He's a hot quarterback.
The Alex Smith one surprises me.
Dak Prescott's a good quarterback. He's probably in like the 8th or 9th best quarterback in the league range.
See, I put him higher than that.
I put him higher than that.
I put him at 5, 6, probably.
What do you say?
He's fringe top 5.
Dak or Lamar is probably the argument that we should be talking about.
Yeah, probably.
I think that's close.
That's the line right there. Probably.
Yeah, I think that's close.
And I don't think, and you could give me an argument for both, and you wouldn't be wrong.
Yeah,
you could absolutely give me an argument for both. Yeah, Matt, my fault, man. That's a little bit of an overreaction. Here's what I do appreciate is when Dak balls out, we have to like give him his flowers and appreciate that. I know that's not really in y'all wheelhouse as Eagles fans, but sometimes, Dak balling out gets overlooked. Like before he got injured last year, there was a case for Dak being top 3 in MVP conversation. And I get it was the very beginning of the season, but Dak was hooping before he got hurt. And that's all that Matt V is trying to say.
Yeah. And they were losing, by the way.
And they were losing. So, but to say that there's only one quarterback and it's the best on earth and maybe the best ever by when it's all said and done, that he's the only one definitely better than Dak, that's just an overreaction because is Josh Allen not definitely better than Dak?
I think that's another argument you can make. I think the two.
I don't think you can make that argument.
Dak's 7th on my list of
I don't think you could. I don't think you could make the argument. Like I'm taking Josh Allen 7 days out of.
I like Dak Prescott.
I think
I know
you can like it without.
I know exactly why Matt tweeted it, and I just don't go that far. But and you remember me last year, I didn't have Dak top 10 quarterbacks, and you guys got on me about it. I'm throwing him as high as 5 or 6 right now. I think the only 3 definitely are Mahomes, Wilson, Rodgers. But I think a lot of arguments after that come up.
I think Dak is a lot closer to someone like Justin Herbert than he is to someone like Russell Wilson.
It's interesting. We're gonna have to settle.
That's fair.
We all agree that Matty V is overreacting. I disagree.
There are tiers. There are tiers.
There's levels to this shit. Anyway, the last one we're gonna end on a fun one because at this point, if you don't enjoy what you saw out of Jameis Winston, you're a hater.
I'm a Jameis Winston hater. I'm not afraid to admit it.
Okay, we'll get into that. Of course you are.
I've hated him since he was at Florida State.
Of that makes sense. You got ACC ties, but like that of course you would. Anyway, here's the last one. Factor of reaction. I guess we'll start with you, Matt. Jameis Winston will lead the Saints to the playoffs after that Week 1 performance.
Not at all.
Jameis Winston.
It's not an overreaction in the sense that the Saints will make the playoffs.
Jameis Winston will lead. He will be the focal point of their playoff run. That's kind of how I read
If
this.
a team makes the playoffs, any quarterback led them there.
You can drag a quarterback to the playoffs in success.
Mitch Trubisky led the Bears in the playoffs last year.
He did not.
Yeah, he did.
He did.
He was the quarterback.
I'm going to change it then. Jameis Winston will be the reason the Saints make the playoffs. Will be the focal point of a
enough
Saints
of an
playoffs.
Impact. Sure.
You know what I'm supposed to.
I get what you're saying now.
Go ahead.
Saints are going to make the playoffs because the Saints are a great team.
So it's not Jameis.
They're the winningest NFL team since 2017, and they have a quarterback that's okay. So that won't hurt them. He's not going to be the reason they make the playoffs.
So that's an overreaction. So
that's an overreaction. Remember, he threw 5 touchdowns for like 148 yards.
No, that's so funny.
There's
because even when
they were in position
out,
to throw those touchdowns, not because of Jameis, because of the defense and the running game and everything around it.
Even when Jameis balls out, the stats don't make sense. 5 touchdowns on under 200 yards passing.
Yeah.
Fact or overreaction?
I think the difference is, I'm going to say it's a fact, and I agree with Matt, they'll make the playoffs, but I think he'll lead them there. The difference is Jameis Winston has had these crazy stats that you would want to look at. He threw a couple, too many picks, 30 in particular that season, but was the league's leading passer, and they missed the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So I think Jameis Winston bringing a team to the playoffs is, in a way, him leading a team to the playoffs. And I know the Saints are a lot better team than that Buccaneers team was. Probably, 3 years ago now? But he threw 5 touchdowns week 1, and I know defense got him there. Alvin Kamara looked great. Blah, blah, anything. Doesn't matter. Wide receivers were getting open. Jameis Winston will lead them to the playoffs. Any quarterback will. I disagree with you in the terms that, he'll get carried there. I think maybe you can look at Alvin Kamara, and he has a stud season, and, he will be more of an impact. But Jameis Winston's going to lead this team to the playoffs, no doubt. They're going to be an easy wild card. Other teams, you think up there lost week 1. The Vikings, the Bears, maybe. They lost week 1. I think you fully expect 2 out of the NFC West anyways. But that last spot, I think, easily goes to the Saints.
Whoa. I think it's a fact.
Okay.
I think Jameis – I want to see Jameis succeed so much.
He's one of the most fun players in the league to watch.
There's a couple players in sports that when they ball out, it's the most entertaining thing to watch.
Yeah.
And in football, it's Jameis Winston. Everyone roots for Jameis Winston. And I understand
that 5K 30-30 season was so entertaining as a neutral.
As a neutral. As a neutral.
6 to hit 30 interceptions was so great.
Hey, and let me tell you about watching the ins and outs of a 30-30 season. It's exactly what it sounds like. He will throw 2 touchdowns back-to-back drives, and the next 2 drives will be the craziest interceptions you've ever seen in your life. It literally was tit for tat. But getting him back on the Saints, I get the Saints are a good team. No NFL team has won more games since 2017 than the Saints. He's taking over from a team that went 12-4 last year, first in DVOA, Matt, your favorite stat. So he's on a good team. You want to know why I think it's a fact he leads the Saints to the playoffs? This is the best advertisement for LASIK eye surgery that you will ever see. Because Jameis, he said that's the reason he's gonna play better. I got LASIK eye surgery. I can actually see down the field. And I haven't seen anything to the contrary yet.
Yeah.
He looked like he's seeing the field better. He looked like he's making more decisive throws. He's not going like this when he throws the ball downfield. He fighting people. These balls are on the button.
Yeah.
And I've seen Jameis make some pretty good throws. He's the number 1 overall pick. But I'm watching that game and he didn't make these throws wearing pewter and black. This is new. So I think Jameis Winston leads the Saints to the playoffs, and whatever doctor did Jameis Winston's LASIK eye surgery, you need to advertise that because people need to know about that. Am I wrong for that?
I want to give an eyesight throwback in sports to Philadelphia Philly Bryce Harper when he was a minor league baseball player in 2011. He started the season 231 at low Class A. People were freaking out. He changed his contacts over the next 20 games to get 480.
Is that what happened at the All-Star break? Did we just figure it out?
Yeah, hey.
All-Star's been balling recently.
We've been balling out.
Did you just not see it at the beginning of the year?
Yo, I'm telling you, clear vision will change an entire season and an entire career around.
If Jameis becomes a Pro Bowler, he's got to get whatever the biggest LASIK, whoever does surgery, he's got to get a big brand deal.
Easily.
That's absolutely made for him. That's actually a genius idea, Matt. You need to be on James
you need to be
on
the marketing team real
You need to be
quick.
on his marketing team because it's a brilliant idea. Jameis had a very impressive week 1 performance as a player. Let's go down the line. We'll talk about the most impressive week 1 performances for teams.
Yep.
Which one of y'all said the Eagles? Which one of y'all said? Okay, let's
That was me,
start
'cause
that.
it was.
I know which one. I know one
It
of y'all
was.
did. I know one of y'all did.
It was.
They beat the Falcons. But anyway, Kyle.
Yeah, but
why were
the Eagles won 32-6. A lot of question marks going into this team. We saw a lot of great offensive performances from basically all of their weapons. Miles Sanders played great, about 5 yards per carry. Gainwell's a rookie. He looked great when he came in. Devontae Smith and Reagor both had touchdowns. Dallas Goedert had a touchdown. And the defense didn't allow a touchdown at all. Actually, they didn't allow a point the last 44 minutes of this game.
They didn't allow the Falcons across midfield the last 44 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it looks, first of all, it looks like we hit it on the head with the last two picks with Reagor and Smith. I think both of them looked great. They actually drug tested Reagor after the game, which I thought was hilarious. Obviously, you would say you want to get Justin Jefferson, but if you hit on a first rounder, you hit on a first rounder. Maybe if it's a quarterback and you take one number 1 and the guy that went number 5 ended up being better, you can make the argument. But for a wide receiver, I think Reagor's there. But to me, what happened is they weren't the best team week 1. But I think the Eagles were by far the most prepared team week 1. Mm-hmm. They were the most prepared team to go out and win a football game, and that's exactly what they did. Very, very easily, right?
Yeah.
Very, very easily. Perspective.
You did perfect the game plan.
Yeah.
You did execute
Perspective,
the game plan.
right? They played Atlanta. Do I think Atlanta's the worst team in the league? They just might be. Yeah, the Texans aren't anymore. The Jaguars and the Lions might be, but the Lions just did a crazy comeback up on the 49ers and almost won that game.
The Falcons are definitely
Atlanta might be the worst team in the league right now, but I think the Eagles came in the most prepared. I think they were the most surprising to a lot of NFL fans. Even that was Eagles fan didn't like our quarterback. I mean, I think a lot of people were surprised you had a rookie head coach, a rookie number 1 receiver.
Sirianni impressed me a lot.
Sirianni was
I
the most
love
impressive
everything Sirianni did. And that talks to the preparedness this team was. I think that was easily a very, very impressive performance week 1.
And the defense made adjustments too. They're getting run on a lot in the first quarter, and then they just completely locked it down. They were the only team in the NFL that didn't allow a play of 20-plus yards. And remember, this is Falcons have Calvin Ridley, and they didn't have a play of 20-plus yards.
What I loved is that they kept it simple on defense. We only rushed 4, and that's all the pressure we needed. I mean, they were getting back there. Matt Ryan was having a tough time, and I know there weren't too many sacks, but if you look at QB hurries,
QB hurries is a big stat. It's a big stat.
Up there.
That affects passing games.
Yeah.
It's an impressive win. And first of all, I think it's an impressive win because I didn't expect Nick Sirianni not only to execute his game plan that well, but to be so connected with his players and have that much camaraderie and chemistry with his players. Because Jalen Hurts is not his quarterback. He was not brought in for Jalen Hurts. He was brought in as a last-ditch effort to try to get Carson to stay. And if you do, we can't get you Frank Reich, but we can get you the next best thing, and that's his offensive coordinator or quarterback's coach. That's we got you from his tree. We got you his mini-me. Mm-hmm. Carson still left, and he wasn't – I don't want to say he was stuck with Jalen Hurts, but that was – okay, next man up, and it's Jalen Hurts. But for them to have established this, hey, it's me and you against the world type of mentality. We're both newbies in this thing, and we're gonna both be the reason we each other succeeds. They got a little nice little handshake. Okay. I see you, Nicky. No words, getting a little swag there.
It's fun having no expectations because everything's when you.
I disagree. There were expectations. He's in Philadelphia. You could have the worst roster on paper. There are expectations. Even if it doesn't translate into wins, there are expectations for Nick Sirianni. And it doesn't look like the moment was too big for him. It didn't look like he outsmarted himself. He aided his young quarterback, and they got a good win. You guys were supposed to win, albeit maybe not 32-6.
We weren't supposed to win.
You guys were
underdogs.
You guys were underdogs.
I think
come on, man.
Why it's impressive is 1, they won so big. 2, they didn't give up a touchdown, and they really were probably maybe the Saints, the most prepared team coming into week 1.
I'll get you
right. I mean that was super impressive, and it surprised everyone. The Eagles just.
I'm trying to think of other teams I could say more prepared, but that's.
I would say the Rams, the Eagles, and the Saints.
I got one. The Arizona Cardinals.
There you go.
Yeah. And maybe the Steelers for pulling off.
But the Steelers, their whole thing started by a block punt.
Yeah, they got lucky. It wasn't Steelers. You're right. They only had a couple of yards.
Right. Matt, Cardinals.
Arizona Cardinals. They're in the toughest division in football this year.
By far.
The NFC West was 4-0 on week 1 with a point differential of plus 65. The next highest of any division is plus 28 by the AFC West. And if you're in that division, you need all the wins you can get. So securing a road win against the team that won the AFC South last year, not just securing a road win, but blowing out the Tennessee Titans is wildly impressive. Getting them a win. There might be 4 playoff teams from the NFC West. That's how good the division is.
That would be ridiculous.
Yeah, right.
And Kyler Murray, just great game. 280, 9 passing yards, and 5 total touchdowns, 121 passer rating. Held Julio Jones to just 3 catches for 29 yards. They're going to be going against a lot of good receivers and tight ends in their division. So that's a good sign for the future. And their team was just very balanced. It wasn't forcing the ball to DeAndre Hopkins, wasn't just running down their throat. Christian Kirk and DeAndre Hopkins both had 5 catches for 80 yards, 2 touchdowns. DeAndre had 6 catches. And then James Conner and Chase Edmonds both had over 12 carries for over 50 yards. Just a balanced, smart running attack with Kyler Murray, who can always run out of the backfield. It's tough to beat a team that can beat you in so many different ways, and they displayed that in week 1.
And we didn't even talk about Chandler Jones absolutely wreaking havoc on the opposite side. You know what I mean?
Ridiculous.
I might be right there with you. One, Kyler Murray, thank you for your performance because you gave me a dub in week 1 in fantasy. Gotta love it.
That was the best quarterback performance of week 1.
Yeah, man.
That's what I'll say. Kyler Murray looked the best out of any quarterback in week 1.
I said last year.
Stafford's up there.
Yeah,
Stafford's up there too. I'll put Kyler over him.
I said last year that when it clicks, this Cardinals offense has a reminiscence of 2018 Los Angeles Rams or still in St. Louis, but 2018 Rams.
It was LA.
Yeah, when they went to the Super Bowl. It was just complete high power, high octane. You can't stop it from any angle through the air, on the ground. The quarterback gets them to. So when this offense is hitting on all cylinders, it's damn scary. And now you have a dual head and an anchor on defense. And I want to talk about Chandler Jones' performance from J.J. Watt's perspective, because people, J.J. Watt came into the Cardinals and people thought, hey, J.J. Watt might have a resurgence of his career, but he did exactly what he was supposed to do: take attention and pressure off of Chandler Jones, because that's the man that's going to get the sacks if he's got one-on-one. Mm-hmm. But you have to still, pay attention to J.J. Watt, because he'll get his if you leave him one-on-one. But you have to shift assignments over to him, which frees up Chandler Jones, and you see what that man does. But the Cardinals just all around completely.
It's like the Warriors when they got KD, you couldn't double Steph anymore.
Yeah, man.
So you're just
someone's one-on-one, and that person's going to win. And that person's going to win. Okay. Absolutely. I'm going with the Saints. And the reason why I'm going with the Saints is, one, the Jameis Winston performance, we all got into that. But we all understood what, the catastrophic events that happened in terms of the hurricanes down south. The Saints have to, pick up and move, essentially play a road game, but you don't have to play in a completely different venue dealing with the hurricane, and still come out and absolutely execute a game plan. And we're putting a lot of Aaron Rodgers' performance just on his side of it, not being prepared, not having a good, grip on the game plan coming into week 1, and completely forgetting that the Saints had one of the best defenses in the league last year. And there seemed to be no reason to question why they were going to come in and be that same type of defense this year. And they choked the Packers, absolutely just had no life in them. And that's impressive. So I don't care which way you square it. That's impressive for the reigning MVP to come in, especially thinking he won a battle against his ownership with a little bit of swagger, and choke the life out of him from the opening snap. That's very impressive to do. So just like the Cardinals, offense, defense, special teams combined, the Saints had an impressive-ass week 1 win.
For sure. An all-time move by the Saints. I forget who the interview was with. There's the interview where they were when they were deciding where to choose the game, because they could choose any venue from any away team. They looked at Green Bay. They chose the furthest distance.
Yeah.
They said, what's going to be the hardest place for Green Bay to get to? And they chose Jacksonville. And if you look historically, Aaron Rodgers is pretty bad playing in Florida.
He used to the cold weather. I'm surprised you have no Aaron Rodgers hate to spew.
No, I like Rodgers. He had last year. His advanced stats proved that he was back. So my whole thing is that from the 2015 to 2019 era, he was elevated by his perception based on how good he was from 09 to 14. 2020, he got back to where he was from 09 to 14. So,
all right, and I'll just throw in Jake's real quick.
Go ahead. I was just
Jake,
going to do that. Go ahead.
Obviously not with us. If you missed the beginning of the episode, had a little car issue. Had a little front bumper came off.
Ah, damn.
But he put the Rams on here. Obviously, we saw the Rams. Maybe Chicago's offense looked defeated, but the Rams looked great. Did everything they needed to do, and that game was over. Honestly, from the eye test, that game was over very early. I want to say one thing that Jake put in the script here, though. Jake said the Rams could be the NFC Chiefs. Obviously,
come on, man. Come on, man.
And I know he's high on the Rams because he said that last week.
Come on.
What do we think about that one? Because I see the potential, but I don't think, especially in that division, there can even be a possibility of an NFC Chiefs.
The Chiefs are 21-1 in their last 22
there's no
regular
Chiefs.
season
There's
games.
there's no equivalent to the Chiefs. And it's one of those things you put in when you know you're not gonna make the episodes. You don't gotta face it in person. But
Sean McVay isn't as good as Andy Reid, and Matthew Stafford's not as good as Patrick Mahomes.
No team that doesn't have Patrick Mahomes could be as good as the team that has Patrick Mahomes. That's just how good of a player he is. But what he's trying to say is the Rams could end up absolutely running the table in the NFC.
Yeah. And
I still don't see that.
I think, I don't see it either.
I still don't
but
see
say
that.
they do just dominantly win the NFC West. They go like 5-1, maybe drop a game to the Seahawks in the NFC West. I think they could be an NFC.
The Rams
Chiefs.
are very good. That's what they're nothing more. They're just very good. They're not like a dominant.
They're not a dominant.
They're not a dominant team.
They can
the
be
Chiefs,
though. I really think they can be.
They can be dominant in games, but they're not a dominant team.
They can dominate stretches of games. I don't think they can be a dominant team. The Chiefs will dominate any team on the field.
But
all 31 teams could get it.
The Chiefs are in a place where, like, if you're an AFC team and you see your schedule like Chiefs, that's an L. If you see the Rams on your schedule and NFC teams like, that's tough game. Yeah.
But I think that's one thing we could see in 2021 season is the Rams really becoming that. This team made the Super Bowl 3 years ago with arguably a worse roster. I know they had Todd Gurley, but their quarterback was way worse. I think their defense, there was no Jalen Ramsey. I think their defense was
worse.
Possibly worse.
Mm-hmm.
Now their division was worse. The NFC West isn't what we see it as now. But I think this team could be the surprise of the season. And I think it's quickly becoming not a surprise that the Rams are very good. I am huge on Matt Stafford. I think he is 2 times what Jared Goff is. I really think they could
4
get
times. And here's where Jake has the potential to be right. If this offense might unlock a new level of Matt Stafford that none of us knew was possible because he had a clear ceiling in Detroit. You only get so good playing for the Lions.
Mm-hmm.
But go into an offense that unlocks a new aspect of your game, an innovative, dynamic offense that only really 1 other 2 other teams can replicate in the entire NFL. That may unlock a new Matt Stafford. And the Stafford that was held back was a 30 touchdown a year passer.
Yeah.
So if there's a new level to that, maybe there's some
we'll see.
Dominant, dynamic playmaking, type things. But to be the Chiefs, you got to be in a world of your own.
There's a tier A in the NFC, and it's a short list. I think it's the Buccaneers, the Rams. You can argue the Packers, but they didn't look it on Sunday, and possibly the Seahawks. And I think that is it.
Maybe they could be the NFC Chiefs because the Chiefs lost to only 1 team last year. So maybe they will be the NFC Chiefs. We're moving on and looking ahead now to week 2 because we just can't get enough football right now. And we got to see if what are going to be the best matchups going into week 2. We can run through these kind of quickly because we're going to probably analyze these same games next week, which is just the fun of football. Sunday at 1 p.m., I get Raiders-Steelers. That's a great week 2 matchup.
Yeah.
Kyle, why?
That's 2 teams coming off of very surprising wins. Both were underdogs. Obviously, we saw the Raiders beat the Ravens, and we saw the Steelers beat the Bills.
Yeah.
Albeit the Steelers didn't look great. Only had 252 yards of total offense. Now, you say that, and they face the Bills. You wouldn't expect them to win, but their defense is exactly what we expected it to be. Losing Steven Nelson didn't hurt. Their secondary is still great. I mean, I think what we could see here is an offense versus defense game. Yeah. Derek Carr threw the most passing yards of any quarterback. Now, he was forced to. The game also went longer. It went to overtime, so he had more attempts than a lot of quarterbacks. And then we have the defense who, honestly, may be the best defense in the league with the Steelers. I know there's a lot of teams up there, so I think this is a really interesting game.
About to break that NFL record of most consecutive regular season games with the sack. Yeah. They're like 2 games away from doing that.
What's big here is week 2 out of conference game. Both of these teams could really benefit from starting 2-0.
Yeah.
Right? The Steelers can easily be the 3rd best team in the NFC North. The Ravens and Browns can be above them. Yeah. The Raiders have a tough conference. I mean, the Chiefs, you expect to lose to them. And then you look at the Chargers and the Broncos, who both won week 1. I mean, both of these teams could really need a W here, and I think both of these teams looked great in week 1, so it's a really big game.
Here's why this is the most interesting game of week 2. Because both of these teams have to prove in week 2 that their week 1 wins weren't a fluke.
Yeah.
And if they do that, you throw a lot of belief into both of these teams. Both of these teams on paper should be good, but just don't have a lot of belief from people.
Yep.
If the Steelers go out and beat the Raiders week 2 and they go 2-0, oh man, the Steelers weren't as bad as we thought we were going to be.
Yeah.
If the Raiders go out and beat the Steelers and go 2-0, then it's, oh shit, the Raiders are as good as we all knew they could be. Like they are finally that good. But both of them in this game have to prove that it wasn't just a surprise or a fluke win and the other team lost it. Because the Ravens had an opportunity to win that game. And if the Bills play the Bills football, I think the Steelers win.
I still don't. The Raiders have had one good year in the past 20 years.
And the Ravens should have won that game.
Yeah, and the Raiders scream.
Almost blew it too.
Yes.
The Raiders scream 8-9. Like that's what they'll surprise some teams. But they're just like, okay.
They did it last year.
The Steelers are always good, and I think they'll be good again this year. The biggest part of this game is the fact that the Ravens could very well be 0-2, and the Steelers could be 2-0, and so we'll get because Ravens have to play the Chiefs.
Yeah. No, the Ravens probably will be 0-2.
All right, let's do predictions. Who are we taking? I'm going to take the Steelers. I do disagree with Matt a little bit on the Raiders. I think they're better than people expect. But I'm going to take the Steelers on Sunday at home.
Yeah,
I think when you look at these offense-defense matchups, one, the offensive performance we saw at Derek Carr could have been a fluke. I don't think you can call the Steelers' defensive performance a fluke. And I'll favor the defense in their home stadium, especially in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I'm going to Steelers. You got an emotional win on the road. You bring the energy back to Heinz Field. They can only, aid in good things. They're itching to get back home. Juju wasn't even involved in the game, and they won.
So also, Vegas has a short week going across the country. Makes it harder.
Yeah, absolutely. So you take a Steelers still?
Yeah.
All right, we're moving on. Let's go out to the NFC West and an AFC-NFC matchup Sunday at 4:25. Titans and Seahawks. Matt, who you got out there in Seattle in the 12th man?
Seattle Titans might be fool's gold.
Might be.
I'm
not sure.
They've had a winning record like 5 straight years, which is hard to believe. But the tough schedule start. You got to win that week 1. You have to go to Seattle week 2. First game where Seattle has their fans back in a year and a half.
Yeah.
Like that's tough.
And you were talking about teams you weren't expecting to start 0-2. The Titans, the NFC South favorite, could start 0-2 after losing last week.
That division might be really bad.
Yeah, it might be what we all think it is. It's the AFC South.
Because
they had their 2 years.
The Seahawks dominated the Colts. Colts got a garbage time touchdown at the end on the road. So that could be a division where 8-9 wins the division, 9-8 wins the division. So
Titans or Seahawks?
Seahawks win.
This one's tough. I think the Titans will look a lot better.
I think
one
so too.
thing is they just got beat up by Arizona, and they're going to face Seattle, who plays a lot of the same type of football, right?
Yep.
Similar quarterback, similar weapons at wide receiver. I think they don't lose 38-13. I think this is actually going to be a tight game. I actually think the Titans might have a shot to pull it out, but I'll take the home team. I'm going to say the Seahawks win it in the end, and we might see a lot of defense in this game. I think the Titans might really strap up this game, but I think the Seahawks will take it in the end.
I think when the Titans have to play a physical matchup, they'll win it. I think that's why they're able to beat the Ravens in the playoffs. I think that's why they're going to beat the Seahawks. When you have to face a team that'll spread you out and make you play dynamic, you're going to lose. They can't win a track meet. And the Cardinals play a track meet. You got to run fast. I think if we're gonna line up and punch each other in the mouth, the Titans win that battle. And you said it perfectly. The Seahawks play a very similar brand of football, and it's going to be Chris Carson or Derrick Henry. I'm gonna go King Henry on that one. Just lean on him, and I think they get the win.
They just looked horrible week 1. Man.
They did. I mean, you're playing like the Cardinals make you play a different brand of football.
It is tough to have to go Cardinals Seahawks week 1 too.
I to be honest, the Seahawks are a way better matchup for the Titans than the Cardinals are.
Yeah.
Like when you have to play a track meet, just like when you have to play a track meet in basketball, in this day and age, the track meet wins. Back in the day, in both sports, if I had to play a physical game versus a track meet, the physical game is going to win. Now, the track meet's always going to win. They don't have to play that this week. They get to go and play Smash Mouth against the Seahawks. Last one, we're going to go the Sunday night game. The big one everyone's circling, Chiefs-Ravens. Every time we get this game, it's a banger.
Yeah.
Every single time we get this game, it does not disappoint. I don't expect for it to disappoint. 2 of the top 3 teams in the AFC based on odds to win the conference by Vegas. In prime time on Sunday night, and we get it early this season. Matt, Ravens or Chiefs?
I'm not picking against Mahomes.
That's just when you got to default to that sometimes.
I know. I also there's a little shaky Lamar Jackson stuff. It's been 17 consecutive games where he has not thrown for 250 yards in a game.
Yeah, but that's their offense. I'm used to it now.
Number one rushing offense.
Yeah, I'm used to it now.
250 is not that high though.
In this day and age, it's not. But if I'm winning games, it don't matter.
Yeah,
it don't matter. That's not their brand of offense.
Yeah.
But I agree with the default of when in doubt, don't pick against Patrick Mahomes. Kyle, Chiefs or Ravens?
it's tough. I don't think the Ravens' offense is as good as I thought they were. Even when Dobbins was out, before Gus Edwards went out, but I'm not sure how much that mattered because I really do like Tyson Williams. He looked great, and I think Latavius Murray is going to be a good piece there. The thing is, I don't trust these guys around him. I think Sammy Watkins adds another layer, makes them a little better. I am going to take the Chiefs, and this is the one I'm most reluctant on taking here because I think we just saw the Ravens give up almost 40 points to Vegas and still should have won that game. So if you can give up 40 points, and still almost win, then you got a shot against the Chiefs, right? But I'm going to take Mahomes. Like Matt said, I'm not going against Mahomes.
I really want to take the Ravens.
Me too.
Here's the thing. I'm taking the Chiefs, but I believe the Ravens. I very wholeheartedly believe the Ravens could win this game.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the Chiefs because I'm like, hey, don't bet against Mahomes. It's just a smart thing to do. But
Mahomes is undefeated in September for his career.
Yeah, it's true. We're still early season.
It's
Mahomes.
not that long of a career.
11-0.
But he's ungodly.
36 touchdowns, no picks.
Septembers.
He's ungodly. It's 12 games, man.
Yeah.
It's ungodly.
But they've been. What are they in October? 10-1.
It's every. It's every.
The Chiefs. We just.
He's got 3 regular season losses under his belt in his career. But if the Ravens win this game, I won't be surprised. Ravens feed off emotional games. We've seen games where they lose where it's questionable why they lose those games. But all the games they got to play, the big hype ones, they rise to the occasion. All the Chiefs games, the 49ers games, the Seahawks games, they rise to those occasions.
Yep.
So I think the Ravens have a very, very good chance of winning this game. But, man.
Who are you taking? Ravens or Chiefs?
I'm taking the Chiefs, man. Like I said, I won't pick against Patrick Mahomes, but I won't be surprised if the Ravens end up winning.
I'm excited for week 2, man. These games look great.
Gotta be.
Let's move it along, though. Let's move into the countdown. Jake, you're going to start with, or James, you're going to start with number 5?
Yeah, tier, because it would be Jake this week.
I know,
I'm the seat too, the thug tier. But I'll start it with number 5, the number of teams Tom Brady has never lost to. That's Dallas, New England, Minnesota, Atlanta, and Tampa Bay. New England's weird because he's never
hasn't played that much.
But after this week or next, it will be New England because we play the Patriots. But Tom Brady's dominant. One that we said we were going to switch this one, and I'll do the one we should have switched it to too. The number of sacks Chandler Jones had in week 1, an absolute menace, man.
That's
menace.
That's ridiculous.
Defensive player of the year, because I might be able to punch it now.
Is easily up there right now.
That was crazy.
TJ Watt's going to give him a run. Aaron Donald's always in the mix, but Chandler Jones has inserted his name on that list.
No, you know who also inserted his name too? Jalen Ramsey. You got to put common sense, you got to put Jalen Ramsey in there. He's not going to have the stats too. He's going to have the tackles this year because they're moving him in different spots.
Yeah.
But he's not going to have the interceptions, the pass breakups. People don't throw this man's way.
Yeah.
But
Which
he controls the entire secondary.
Remember, Aaron Donald exists.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And it was the better defensive player on their team. Splitting hairs, but I guess it's Aaron Donald. But we got on a tangent there because Chandler Jones, let's just wrap a bow on it.
Yeah.
Chandler Jones was absolutely crazy.
For sure. All right, let's move to number 4, Matt.
The number of starting QBs to not throw a touchdown in week 1, that's Andy Dalton, Matt Ryan, Baker Mayfield, and Aaron Rodgers. Fitzpatrick we didn't count because he got hurt. And Mayfield's a little unfair because he had a great game.
Yeah, I was going to say, Mayfield surprised me there.
He had a 97.5 passer rating despite the fact that he had more interceptions than touchdowns.
One mistake.
Yeah, one mistake is trying to throw it away.
Got caught by the feet.
Yeah, but you got a trash quarterback, you got an aging quarterback, and you got a what the hell game from MVP. And then you got a good game that unfortunately makes this list.
Who's the trash quarterback? Who's the aging quarterback?
The trash quarterback's Dalton.
Matt Ryan is also a trash quarterback. I hate to break it to you, man.
You know he was Matt Ryan.
I did. Matt Ryan's.
To break it to you, man.
A 6 out of 10 quarterback. He's pretty good.
That's average.
I'm not giving him 6. That's average. That's not pretty good.
I'll take him over Carson Wentz on a coin flip.
No, you would not.
You know he loves Matt Ryan.
No, you would not. No, you would not. You're not taking.
Matt Ryan's MVP season was only a year earlier than Carson Wentz's MVP season.
And it's gone. And there's no trace of it.
He led the league in completions last year, Matt Ryan.
Gone.
All right.
Shaky baby. Shaky baby.
All right, I'm not letting Matt talk about Matt Ryan any longer.
Okay.
James, let's get number 3.
The number of games the Phillies have dropped at home against the Rockies last week. The Rockies, for context, have only won 2 road series all season. Put the Phillies as 50% of those road series wins. You want to talk about shaky, baby? But this is the therapy session. All the Phillies fans that are listening, all the Phillies fans that are watching, indulge us as we get on our soapbox because we took the last 2 months off. So we haven't talked about the train wreck that's been the Phillies on this podcast. This is our opportunity. Does anybody have anything they want to get off?
This is all I gotta say.
Okay.
In like 2052, I'll be pushing 70.
Yeah.
And I'll be talking to I'm gonna go 2072. I'll be old, talking to my grandkids, and you know what will happen? It'll be September 2nd. The Phillies will be 68 and 69 for the 84th consecutive season, hovering exactly at 500. And I'm trying to convince myself they got a shot to get that division.
And you'll look like the old senile grandpa who can't let it go. That's what you'll look like.
They had a good 5-year run when I was around your age, Sonny.
Oh man.
Man, I'm just happy football's back. I don't need to watch the team anymore. I've actually watched more Phillies games this year than I've watched.
Me too.
Like maybe since I was a little kid.
They're the most exciting headache of all time. The most exciting headache.
I got surgery, I was out from work for like 9 days. You add in 2 weekends there. That's 13 days. The Phillies played like 11 of them. I watched all 11 games, and I really convinced myself that this team was good, and they could be good. And that's one thing we haven't been able to say for 3 years. They could be good, but the fact of the matter is they're not.
You want to know what the problem is with the Phillies? Their bullpen. You know what the problem last year of the Phillies was? Their bullpen.
Yeah.
You know what the problem the year before, and the year before that, and the year before that was their bullpen. The problem is it's getting worse. And their bullpen is worse than it was last year. It is now actually the worst in the MLB. Actually historically bad.
Yeah.
We have blown, 30 saves or something like that
it's
this
a lot.
season?
It's a lot.
Are you kidding me?
Also, just
the offense is, and
remember when Brad Lidge had a horrible year and he blew 7 saves?
Yeah. And what do we always scream when we wasted good pitchers? Is we don't get run support. We don't get run support. And there are 30 times this season that we've gone to the 7th inning or later with the lead, and we have not won the game.
Yeah.
If we cut those in half, we are sitting so pretty in the NL East, it's not even funny.
What I'll say, too, is I think this year, if Nola had a good year, had a Nola year, he would have been able to carry us to the playoffs. But, I mean, we had Wheeler. He just filled the Nola role. It's still clearly the bullpen. Yeah, but
imagine if we had 2 of them. And I don't know how many of these 30 blown saves was on Nola's hook, because
Nola had 1, I remember, gave up a home run. Wheeler just did that, too, in the 9th, like a week ago against the Rockies. But we'll move on. What are we on, number 2 now, Matt? What's number 2?
Max Scherzer is the second fastest pitcher to 3,000 strikeouts, only behind Randy Johnson.
He's a dominant-ass pitcher.
He had an immaculate inning in the game where he had 3,000 strikeouts, which was a very rare feat that people don't talk about a lot. And he had a perfect game going into the 8th inning. Like, he's just a monster.
Where is Max Scherzer going to go in terms of all-time great pitchers? Why does he not come up in that conversation enough?
Because I don't like the Nationals.
That's true. I don't like the Nationals either. But there was a Max Scherzer that was dominant before the Nationals, too.
He was very good for the Tigers. He was unbelievable for the Nationals, and he's still unbelievable for the Dodgers.
You got Verlander or Scherzer?
Career?
Yeah.
Career? Sure.
That's the argument.
Verlander.
Sure, Verlander.
Yeah, because they have a very synonymous career,
it's close. Because that's really the two
line
you look at in this era. Tim Lincecum had a shot. His career fell off.
Nah, you don't get credit for 2 years.
Yeah, no, you don't. But he had a shot to get there. He was young. Yeah. I think those are the two. David Price had a shot. He kind of fell off.
No, he's not in that tier.
He's not.
Kershaw's in the tier.
All those guys were getting there. Chris Sale was getting there.
Chris Sale was toes on the line of there.
Yeah, there's a lot, but those are the two that have made the jump. I think Verlander and Scherzer are in that A tier.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, let's go to number 1.
And you have to include fucking DeGrom.
Oh yeah. Well, he's actually on that getting there list.
He's on that getting there list. He's got to finish the season. He's got to win a couple.
He's our new Chris Sale. We'll see what he does in the next 2 years.
He's on the way up.
All right, number 1.
The number of players in NBA history with more buzzer beaters than Joe Johnson. That's only Michael Jordan. They call this man ISO Joe for a reason. This is kind of random, but I like that he's in there.
Joe Johnson has 8. MJ has 9. It's close.
I like that he's in there because ISO Joe is he's that guy.
Shit, Steph's getting there, I gotta imagine.
No, Steph's got 0 buzzer beaters in his career.
Wow.
Is that facts?
That end in zero.
Like that end,
They end in zero. He's got
He's
got like 5 that are between 1 and 0, but he's got 0 that actually.
So Russell Westbrook has like 3 or 4 off the top of my head. I can name those. He can't even shoot. All right. I'll do number 0. We do have a number 0.
Go ahead.
I like to pick that one up when we got him. That's the number of shots on target Barcelona had in their 3-0 loss to Bayern Munich in the Champions League on Tuesday. First time in Barca history they didn't record a shot on target in a Champions League match.
Why?
0. They're missing Messi, huh?
Why, Matt? Why?
Because they're missing Messi. Matt had to remind you of that one.
Yeah, dog. That's tough. One, we're historically bad against Bayern Munich in the Champions League. We're like just
ever
terrible.
Since Messi crossed up Boateng, you've been cursed.
You've been cursed ever since. And I mean that led us to a Champions League final after beating him in that leg. But yeah, it's bad. And we tried to act like getting Memphis was going to fill the Messi void. We really did try to convince ourselves of that.
We might see Europa League Barcelona this year.
Say it again?
We might see Europa League Barcelona. They get third in the group.
Yeah, maybe. But we're almost out of time for this episode of Straight Facts. As always, we can get some shots up at the buzzer. Who got a shot to put up at the buzzer to end us?
Man, I'm just going to use this time to promote the YouTube channel. I know we still have a lot of listeners on Spotify, which is good. We got like you guys, but if you want to see a video version of the podcast, we're here now in studio. Everyone here can see us if you're on YouTube.
See what's going on.
And we have more videos coming up, right? We got a Best Bets video coming out.
Yes, sir.
We got
YouTube ramping up for sure.
We got Big Boys. We got all these different type of videos.
Stat deep dives. Like we got.
So if you're enjoying Straight Facts, make sure you head over to Straight Facts Podcast on YouTube. It's our logo. It's the logo you see on your Spotify. It's the logo you see right here if you're on the video version. And go get that thing popping.
Yes, sir. Matt, you got a shot at the buzzer?
Just theme of the episode. It's week 1. We don't want to overreact too much.
Right.
Just this is what happened week 1 last year. The Jaguars had a late comeback to beat the Colts. That was their only win of the season. The Colts went 11-5. I remember that. The Browns lost by 32 points.
Yep. I remember.
We called Baker Mayfield a bust.
You called Baker. You called Baker.
Cam Newton looked great the first 2 weeks of the season. Now he's out of the league.
I like this. I like the perspectives we're giving.
And Brady threw a pick 6 and looked poor as the Bucs lost by 11. They went on to win the Super Bowl. A lot can change after 1 week, and
Rodgers will be on that list next year.
Yeah, hi.
And
back-to-back champs over this one.
And it's going to be fun to see what was assigned to come and what was like. How the hell did that happen?
Yeah, that is going to be interesting. All I gotta say is, have you ever had one of those days where you just seem like the energy just seems off from people? Like the vibe seems weird. I don't know. I had one of those days at work. Work.
It's
like 99% of the time it happens at work. And nothing no singular event happened, but just the way people were talking, every way everyone was interacting with everybody. I'm like, yo, what's in the water? What's going on? Maybe it was just in the King of Prussia Mall, but why is everybody so hostile? Why we all cut through? Maybe I was happy. I'm always happy on Wednesdays, man. It's pod day.
Yes,
so
sir.
I always got a happy, you really can't get me down if I'm going to the studio. But why everybody else? Why are you so angry, man?
I hear that, bro.
Why everybody else so angry? So I just had to make sure everybody good out there. But that's all the time we have for this episode. Prayers up one more time to our guy, Jake Galley.
Really to Jake's car.
Yeah, it really did his car. But he's the one that may have to pay for it. So RIP to that. But for my guys, Kyle Sirik and Statman Robinson, I'm James Jackson. These have been the facts.
Straight up.